Hi, welcome back to drawing for the second week. Last week you just got into graphite a little bit, got warmed up with your pencils, made your sphere. Now we are going to take the graphite into portrait drawing. So for portrait drawing, we're going to break down the features before we actually decide to draw a whole portrait. You're going to need to find a few things in your packet. One of them is this packet that says Basic Proportions of the Human Head. We're going to skip that front page for now and come back to it. There is a section about drawing the eye, drawing the nose, the mouth, and the hair. I'm going to have you go through the PowerPoint that is connected to this lesson. And for slide 10, I believe it is, it's drawing the eye. I think it's slide 8 for the nose, 6 for the mouth, and maybe 12 for the hair. You'll have to recheck that on the Google directions. But go to those slides and fill this out before you start drawing so that you get an idea of proportion, how big the eye is, what types of parts are in the eye. This will really help you if you fill this out first. Once you're done filling out the section about the eye or the nose, then you guys can move on to these 4 drawing sheets. And you may choose the eye that you like best, the nose that you like best, the mouth that you like best. Be careful drawing teeth. That's a little bit more difficult, but you can choose one of those mouths if you want. And the hair that you like best, or best mimic maybe what portrait you might want to do later. You need to cut those out and you need to glue stick them or put them onto your paper. If you are at home and you do not have a pair of scissors, you can carefully tear around the feature that you choose. And if you do not have a glue stick, you can use tape or anything to connect it to the paper, or at least just lay it beside the paper if you can't adhere it. When we get done with this entire packet of information and all 4 of these, you are going to turn everything together into me as a bundle if you are in my classroom. If you're at home, you can take individual pictures of things as you finish and send them to me. I am going to talk you through each feature briefly and give you some tips. There are finished examples of these on the PowerPoint. So that PowerPoint is your main resource outside of this video. Look at all the examples carefully, go through every slide carefully. That is going to give you the tips that you need to know for this project. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this here. This is my eye sheet. When you are drawing the eye, I want you to use your lightest pencil, like a 2B or possibly just a B or an HB, or if you have a normal pencil. And I want you to copy as closely as you can where you think the lines of this eye are. I'm going to have you outline the eye first. Remember, it's more like an almond shape than a perfect football. Make sure you include the line of the eyelid and make sure you include a few lines of the, I'm going to draw much darker actually because I don't know if you can see it, of the wrinkles below. Please draw lightly on yours. I'm going to include the iris and the pupil. Remember that the pupil is dark black, but you want to leave highlights, and remember your shading technique, your round circles. Don't forget that when you're doing these facial features. The only time you'll come away from that little circular motion is when you draw the hair. Then you're going to do wrist flicks. Make sure it's darker at the edge of your iris and shade in towards your pupil. Try to match the values on your sheet perfectly. If you want to add a little more texture inside the iris, you can. The darkest line of the eye is always the upper lid, so you can make that a little bit darker and hold off on the lashes for now. When you look at the corners of the eyes, there's always highlights in them, and you want to take your time to catch all of those highlights. The white of the eye is an orb, and so you always want to shade in because it's not totally white. The top of the eyelid usually catches light, so be careful right there. Keep moving and know that there is one eye width between the eye and the brow, which you'll do with texture. Again, I'm not going to finish this entire feature. I'm going to wait until the end to put in the eyelashes, and those are a flick of the wrist to the side. You don't want to make those look too fake. You want to copy this eye as it is. For the nose, you again want to draw in the image as you see it. The nose is a soft series of values because it is the most dimensional thing on your face, and the only thing that's really dark black shaded on the nose would be the nostril. If there's glasses and other features around it, you can include that too to help show where the nose falls. Again, I'm doing this very quickly. Your dark values that you start with are right here in the nostril, and as you're shading in, think of the edge of the nose as a sphere and match the values exactly on your paper. There are lots of lights and darks in the nose that make it a nose. Try not to make it look outlined. You want to hide those lines, so keep them very light when you're sketching. You always want to hide the harsh lines of the nose. A lot of people make the mistake of just doing a really hard lined nose. Don't ever do that again if you want to have a realistic nose. For the lips, be careful not to outline them too harshly. Again, when you're drawing things out, keep your lines very light so that the lines don't take over the values. The darkest part of your mouth is where the two lips collide in the middle and the very corners of the lips. So just follow that. The bottom lip is usually lighter, and since this is kind of like a cylindrical form, you're going to shade from dark to light and dark again so that you can get that form in there. Again, these are just quick tips. I am not finishing them. The finished examples are on the PowerPoint. Be careful if you draw teeth to follow the tips in the PowerPoint and take your time. Do not make the lines between the teeth really dark because that will make your teeth kind of appear like chiclets or just like really obnoxious little shapes in the mouth. Again, it gets darker at the lips as they go to the corner, and it gets a little lighter here in the middle of the lip. Take your time. Round circular motions. The hair is a very different feature. It comes last after you've drawn all of the skin, match the values to the skin, and all of your features. You are going to start layering hair. I'm actually going to put a couple of hair tutorials that I pull off of YouTube from other artists on here that are time lapses of people drawing hair because there are so many lines. This is actually the feature that takes the longest, and you can use an eraser or a kneaded eraser to erase out sections of value after you get the hair done. I'm going to switch over for my hair when I'm shading into 4Bs and 6Bs because I want to get dark areas and light areas where my pencil is hitting the page. You cannot be patient enough with hair. It takes a long time to fill that in so that hair looks layered over and over on top of each other.